Hello second grade, so today we are going to start our clay assignment and it's going to be based on the Mexican holiday Day of the Dead. And we're going to create a sugar skull out of clay. And a sugar skull is a human skull shape, and then you do repeated patterns, and we're going to press those patterns into our clay to create a sugar skull. So we're going to start with a slab of clay. You're going to need a little cup of slip. You'll need a toolbox. A popsicle stick that I've cut to a special size, and then a Day of the Dead skull pattern. So the first thing I want you to do is, if you have a nice slab, then you won't have to do this, but I don't have a very nice slab. It's all kind of bumpy and wrinkly from the bag. So I'm going to take a popsicle stick and get it wet, and I'm just going to pull it across the top of my slab to smooth this out. You want it to be pretty even. So like this side here is a little bumpy, so I'm going to pat that down. Okay. And my pattern is just a little too big for my slab, so I'm going to pat it down a little bit more. Okay. It's wider up on this side here, so that's why I spun the slab around, because this side is wider than this side, and if you look at my pattern, the skull chin is skinnier than the top of the skull. So you're going to lay the pattern down, and you can use anything. You can use a plastic knife, you could use the handle of a fork. I'm going to use a popsicle stick, and you're going to press down into the clay until it touches the cardboard placemat, and you're going to pull this around the pattern. And you want to keep it straight up and down. You don't want to angle it. And all the while you're doing it, you want to make sure that it's touching the cardboard and going all the way through the clay. You don't want to use a tool like this because it's curved, and this part here is pretty sharp and won't have a nice edge to it. You want something that's flat, that you press straight down to the cardboard and then pull right along the edge of your pattern. So the scrap you'll give back to me, that scrap of clay you'll give back to me so I can use it with another class. And then you'll take your pattern off, and then you want to take some slip, some water, dip your fingers in the water, and you want to smooth the edges of your skull, your sugar skull out. Because the edges of these will be really sharp once it's fired if you don't smooth it out. It'll be so sharp it could cut your finger. So you want to make sure you do this step here, smoothing out the edges. Now I'm going to pick up my clay and move it just a little bit because I don't want it to get stuck to the cardboard, so I'm going to just pick it up, move it a little bit. Also, I could hold it and smooth out the bottom edges or the back edges of the slab or the sugar skull, so that's nice and smooth too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take a small dowel rod. It's a round wooden stick, and I'm going to press it through the top of my sugar skull and make a hole so that I could hang it on the wall if I wanted to. And I don't want to put this hole too close to the top edge of my clay because it might tear out. So I'm going to bring it down. Maybe use your finger as a finger's width to make sure you're about finger's width down. And then you want to press into your skull, push all the way down till you press and meet the cardboard, then pick up your skull and push the stick all the way through, so that the little bit of clay from the back of your mask comes off and you have a clear hole in your sugar skull, that you don't have any little bits of clay on the back sticking out. So if you don't push your dowel rod all the way through and pull it out the back, you're going to have a little bit of clay stuck to the back of here, and then your hole might not be open all the way. Alright, so next I'm going to do the eyes. The eyes they go a little bit above these jaw lines here. These are supposed to be jaw lines. So they go a little bit above, and I'm going to use a round dowel rod again. I could use a small dowel rod, or I might have a big dowel rod in the toolkit. So I'm going to press down. Now, this time I don't want to make a hole. I just want to make an impression into the clay. So I'm going to press down into the clay to make a nice circle shape for my eyes. Then I'm going to do my teeth, and this is what this popsicle stick is that I cut for you because it's the perfect width for your teeth. So I'm going to take and press this down to make a straight line, and I'm not pressing all the way down to touch the cardboard. I don't want to make a hole. If I make a hole in my sugar skull, it's going to break. So I'm just pressing down to make an indentation. Then I'm going to use the side of the popsicle stick, the end of this stick, to make teeth. So I'm going to start in the middle and do a vertical line up, and then I'm going to do one on one side, one on the other, and I try to space these out evenly. One on this side, one on the other side, just like that, so that I get my teeth. So another way that you can make your teeth, so I just showed you how to make your teeth with this popsicle stick that I cut to a specific length where you can do it this way and then across. Another way that you can make your teeth is to use a small popsicle stick, not one of the large popsicle sticks. See the difference? This is a large popsicle stick, this is a small. Don't use one of the large ones, you use one of the small ones. And what you do is the round part of this popsicle stick is going to be the round part of the teeth, the part that's up by the gums, the part that's by the pink part in your mouth. And so I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. And so I'm going to find the middle of my skull and put one tooth on one side of the middle and one on the other. And so I'm just going to press down and use the tip to get that curved part, and then one on the other side right next to it so I don't have a gap between my teeth. And then I do the same on the bottom for a second row of teeth right below to round. And I know that looks funny right now, but we're going to go back and add the line in a minute. So one on that side, one on that side, so it's symmetrical, and then again on the bottom, one on each side. And then take this popsicle stick that's cut to the specific length and just press down in the middle gently, not too far in, to get that line. And then you have a nice row of rounded teeth instead of just the crisscross lines, which either one is completely okay, whichever one you prefer. So now the rest of it, well, let's do the nose. I'm going to use a small popsicle stick. So this was a big wide popsicle stick that I used to smooth out the top of my slab. This was another big wide popsicle stick, but it's cut just a perfect size for my teeth. So now I'm going to use a regular smaller size popsicle stick to make a nose, and the nose is like an upside down heart. So I'm going to press at a diagonal. See how my popsicle stick is at an angle, it's not straight up and down, and I'm going to press the tip in to make a curved line like that. Now I'm going to make a heart shape, so I'm going to turn it and make it diagonal the other way and press down the tip of it, and there I have my nose shape. So from here on out is all my pattern. This is the fun part, the decorating part. And you can use any of these tools in your kit that you want to. You can take a fork, and if you press the fork in, you can make some straight lines. You could use the small dowel rod to make some polka dots. You could use the big dowel rod to make some polka dots. A lot of sugar skulls have flower patterns on them, flower motifs on them. You could use the curved part of the popsicle stick to make flowers, and that's what I'm going to do around my eyes. I'm going to do a flower pattern around my eyes. Or you know what? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. You could also do some polka dots around the eyes if you wanted. There's a nail that makes nice little round polka dots. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do small polka dots around the eyes first, and then I'll do a flower motif around. So I'll use the popsicle stick to make petals around my eyes. And so now I'm going to go around and just use the tip, just like I used the tip to make the nose. I'm going to use the tip to go around. And let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so you can see how just using the tip of this popsicle stick creates flower petals. So I have one big flower around that eye, so now I need to do the same around this eye. Okay, so there's two flowers. Looks very traditional with that flower motif around the eye. So let's see. I'm going to use the end of the spoon. It has a nice little rectangle to add some patterns around the jawline. But you could do whatever you want. Use whatever tool in the toolbox you want to use. And I'm trying to make it symmetrical, the same on both sides. So trying to do the same thing on both sides all the way around. And again, I'm not pressing all the way through down, touching the cardboard, because that will make my sugar skull very, very fragile. So I did 4 on this side, so I'm going to do 4 on this side. So it's the same on both sides, it's symmetrical. And I think that's good enough. If I put too much pattern on here, then we're going to lose, the viewer who looks at our work, it's going to be hard to see that there's eyes, nose, and mouth. So I could add a few things on the cheek if I wanted to, but I don't want to add too much pattern because it just really, then it just becomes a slab of clay with a bunch of pattern on it, and I want it to look like a sugar skull. So this is my finished piece. When you are finished, you're going to bring me your sugar skull. I'm going to flip it over, and with one of my special tools, I'm going to write your initials on the back and the day you have art. So I'll scrape into the back. So my initials are a D and a J, and I have art on A, B, or C day, so I'll just put an A on the back. And so I'll scrape your initials on the back, and then I will fire this and give this back to you, and it'll come back to you just like this one, all white, and then we're going to add color to our finished sugar skull.